Hey, Crawl Spacers, welcome to our continuing spider history of the 20th anniversary of Marvel Knight's Spider-Man. And the spider historian himself is here to continue the journey. We're 4 issues in of this classic Spider-Man story, JR.
Yes, indeed. And boy, it's a good thing we had a month off because I needed a month to recover from that exciting. And it was a
Good.
really good setup.
In the past month, we've done laundry, we've changed, and we're back in the same shirts. Look at this.
Yeah. Oh, anybody want to see my Ditko?
No, the joke was bad a month ago. Yeah.
All right.
Another
All right.
month, and I'm still not wiser. Same here, Mr. Comics. Welcome. All right, JR, issue number 5 with this ugly looking Ock. Ugh.
Oh, well, not only the ugly looking Ock, but there's nothing suggestive about that cover at all, is there?
What do you mean?
It's scroll. No, other way.
This way. Oh. Okay.
No one's imagination is running away with them. Is it when you guys, boys and girls, when you look at this, you're not thinking what I'm thinking, are you? You're not thinking anything, No.
Wow, that's awkward, JR. I never 20 years later never saw that until you said it.
Yeah. But actually, go back to it, and now let's look at Mary Jane, because there was kind of a one. This gets into your favorite category, but. The original cover, I believe it was previewed, like a lot of cover, they're previewed months in advance. And actually you saw more of Mary Jane, and you saw her entire butt.
Okay.
And people complained, about how sexist it was because she had this big bubble butt. And it's like,
so what?
Okay, well, so... I mean, it's not like it wasn't anatomically correct, or anatomically impossible, like that infamous one of Spider-Woman that was going around a few years ago.
Boy, thanks to the wonders of the internet.
It's just amazing what people get offended
by. The original cover. Hold on. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. There you go. There's the original cover.
Yeah.
Yep. Cropped it out a little bit, didn't they?
And people had a fit. It's like, I mean, we're perfectly fine with with a phallic reference or a phallic inference, perfectly fine with that. But God forbid we see a woman's butt.
Okay. There seems to be a theme.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I like the right kind of butts. But anyway.
All right.
Anyway,
but I digress. Let's keep going. Here we go.
Anyway,
Venomous part 1.
Venomous is the second book of this maxi series. It's the weakest of the 3, but it's still got some good moments. Anyway, but it starts out with someone is waiting at the airport JFK for Eddie Brock. Except they say Venom because anyway, go back to the first page actually, because one of them looks like I don't know if the names mean anything to anybody. I have no idea, but that one guy looks like Norman after he's gone to the Old Country Buffet a few too many times.
This guy,
yeah.
I thought this one looked like Bill Murray.
The cornrows. Yeah, but anyway, so
Venom.
Anyway, so Eddie doesn't take too kindly to that, and the quivering guy says that, well, I thought because your name was still secret or something like that. But anyway, we find out that Eddie has been brought to town on some little enterprise, not a Star Trek reference, and he wants to, he just wants to make a call to whoever's in charge of it, and he makes a reference to the fact that he wants his hotel room spiffied up, because he might as well spend his last few days in comfort. And I don't know. I'm trying to think if this is the first reference to Eddie having cancer or not. I don't remember. But anyway,
it's an early one, because I think in 2006 is when Roberto Aguirre Sacasa started doing the
he did it, and Paul Jenkins did a story that dealt with it too, because ultimately it was like Eddie needed the symbiote to survive. So anyway, Venom is back in town, boys and girls, but for what mysterious reason, we don't know. But apparently he couldn't have kidnapped it. He couldn't have been the one who kidnapped Aunt May, though, because he was apparently out of town. So you might have to strike Venom off your list as far as suspects.
She's nice to Aunt May. Remember, he was folding clothes and eating cookies.
Yeah, and that's kind of what also kind of ultimately disqualifies him because and Spider-Man realizes
Innocent, as his code says.
It's harming an old woman is beneath him.
Absolutely.
And I didn't like the way they changed Brock's, because Brock was a cold-blooded murderer at first. He was. But honestly, I do believe that anybody who's got any sense in that kind of power would, say, yes, Spider-Man, I'll kill you, but I'm sorry, killing an old woman is beneath me. But anyway, right. It's not beneath Norman, though. Anyway, so we go back to Peter and Mary Jane's pad, and we're finding out that, Mary Jane's got her problems too. Things haven't been going too well financially. And she's been mismanaging the family finances. But we'll find that out in a little more detail later. But anyway, so Peter wakes up and calls out for Mary Jane. And Mary Jane rushes into the bedroom, and it turns out that Felicia is at his side. And Mary Jane very subtly, you barely notice her gently nudging Felicia aside. And Felicia, and Felicia doesn't notice, she has no reaction whatsoever. I loved this. There can be no romantic tension. Oh, you know what? When a character's married, there can be no romantic tension. Did you know that, Brad?
No. Yeah.
Not at all. There can't be any, because if you're married, that's the end of your story. You're happy forever, and that's
look at that look Frank Cho puts on Mary Jane. Like a little side eye. Yeah.
What kind of supervillain would I be if I didn't know how to patch up a bullet wound? Yeah, and it's she's really, Mary Jane is really unhappy about this right now.
Little did they know, 20 years later, they'd be in a team-up book down in limbo fighting.
Yeah, they have another confrontation. I'll talk a little bit more about it, but I did like this. I did, even though they are friends, they're not beyond getting in a cat fight.
Well, it's just like your wife meeting your ex, it's exactly what it is.
And the ex seems to have a hard time letting go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is, I don't know. It's in The Evil That Men Do, which actually we'll probably do next year. Black Cat calls her Mary Plain, and
she is not plain.
Yeah, I know, but she's needling him. So she's really never gotten over Spider-Man. Yeah. But anyway, so Peter's been out 2.5 days while his body, basically, I guess his body kind of put itself into a self-imposed coma to heal. And he finds out that pictures were taken of him in the hospital with his mask on, and then later, we don't see the picture, but it's referenced later that it's without his mask. However, as the Black Cat says, your face is too beaten up from Electro to be identified. Yeah. So what was the cliffhanger panel from the last issue all about, where Jonah says, "That's a very familiar face"? That's a slot.
Cheating.
That's a slot cheat, where you don't set up your mystery or you cheat on your mystery. You drop a clue that ultimately either goes nowhere, or you have a resolution that you don't see coming, because the clues are all bad.
And back early first Clone Saga, one of the best covers, in my opinion, I think it's issue 169 of Amazing, where Jonah is holding two pictures of Spider-Man without his mask on.
Yep.
And that's one of the best covers. That made me pick it up.
That's a good cover. And that was definitely a one of those, oh my God, when you see that cover, it's like, absolutely. Oh my God, I got to pick this up. But this is like, and I'm thinking, and I'm probably underestimating it, but the third time that, Jonah is, they've hinted that Jonah knows that Peter is Spider-Man. The first time was when Doc Ock unmasked him back in issue 12, but he was able to get out of that because he was so sick. He didn't have, his powers were ineffective. So everybody thought he was faking. Then we have when Harry Osborn, which we didn't know it at the time, but Harry Osborn had sent pictures of Spider-Man disposing of his clone in the smokestack. That didn't take, apparently, as we found out years later. But anyway, and he mailed them to Jonah, and Jonah was, using this to believe. I think Jonah was saying that the Peter he was talking to now was a fake Peter, and he killed the real Peter or whatever. But anyway, but Peter weaseled out of that one. And now it's like, and I remember writing, it's like, stop playing this game. Either have Jonah find out or just leave it. Don't do it again. Yeah. And I guess Chip Zdarsky decided to go all the way with it and had Jonah find out. So or Peter revealing
that one I don't like. I do like the Aunt May one. I don't like Jonah knowing. I just don't. I hope it gets undone.
I have mixed feelings about it. But anyway, that's a subject. That's a topic
Absolutely,
for another time.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
But anyway, so and Peter, of course, now Jonah and the Bugle have put like a $5 million bounty on Spider-Man. Now, whoever can bring in Spider-Man or reveal his real identity will get $5 million. So now every Tom, Dick, and Harry and supervillain wannabe is going to either come after him and try to claim that money, or unfortunately, as Jonah finds out, show up at the Daily Bugle and try to collect it. So anyway, so the thing is, so Peter's not very happy when he finds out that Felicia is working for the Owl, because she says, the Owl thing in return for you helping bring in the Owl and the Vulture. I mean, not the Owl and the Vulture, the Electro and the Vulture. The Owl said that he will, see what I can do and find your missing person for you, and Peter's like, oh, so you're working for the Owl now. And so he and Felicia kind of start to go back a little bit, and Mary Jane gets in between them and, basically says, stop this. It's no wonder you two aren't dating anymore. And they apologize and move on. But, Peter's morality sometimes is a little bit inflexible, but Felicia basically says, yeah, I'll do crooked things, but there are lines I won't cross. And the Owl knows that. So, and then we got again a pretty good scene where when Felicia leaves and Mary Jane is just kind of really, really down, because and Peter just thinking that in the back of her mind that Peter would rather be with Felicia than with her, and this is one reason. I mean, I don't know, I'm making kind of a leap here. But Mary Jane is actually pretty insecure about Peter's previous romances. The one thing I liked about
that dates back to Gwen.
Yeah. And I was about to bring up Sin's Past because everybody, again, a lot of people, but one thing I liked about it was because when Mary Jane revealed to Peter that, Norman Osborn was the father of Gwen's twins, and she was telling this story, and you could just, it was great art by, the guy who Mike
Deodato Jr.
And it's like Mary Jane is just devastated because you can just see that she is afraid that she is always going to come in second place to a dead woman. Just that grief that resonates. It's not so much telling, having to tell Peter this horrible secret that she's kept for all these years, but just that, just another reminder of her feeling that she's always going to be in second place to a dead woman, and she feels she's going to be in second place to Felicia here. So, there's tension there. There's drama. There's, it's like, what is this foolish shit that's the end of the story? But anyway,
Vinkman has a question, or says, wasn't it hinted that Jonah unmasked Spider-Man during the Nike?
Yes, thank you, Vinkman. Thank you. Yeah. You're also doing a Hornacek. Yes, because after the reboot, I think it was around issue 18, 19, 20 or whatever. During that really awful Green Goblin story, which I gave an F because it personally offended me. Yes, it was Jonah had come across him. Oh, and there were two more times. Yeah, there was this time Jonah had come across him and didn't take off the mask. Peter thought for at least a couple issues that Jonah did, but then Jonah, revealed that he hadn't. But also in issue like 192, when Spencer Smythe had them chained together because Smythe was dying and he wanted, he blamed both Jonah and Spider-Man for his condition. Spider-Man got clobbered, I think, by the fly and was unconscious. And Jonah, reached over and said, now I can find out who he is. But then later we find out, a cop came by and spooked Jonah and he didn't take it off. So, yeah, so you were going on 5 times now. And it's like, do it or stop doing it for real or stop hinting at it. But anyway, so, they decide to start going with, so Mary Jane and Peter get together. It turns out now, Nick Fury has offered to help. He's set Peter up with some of the X-Men psychics. Matt Murdock has called and asked, which Matt Murdock would do, called. The thing is, though, why has he not heard from the Fantastic Four? But then again, they don't know who he is. Well, Reed, I'm sure Reed always did, but it's funny that we never, because Spider-Man's been desperate going around town. It's kind of surprising that Johnny hasn't heard and tried to get a hold of him and ask what's going on with you. You're doing stupid things, you're talking with the owl and things like that. So anyway, but what makes it, unlike when Mary Jane supposedly died and Peter never heard from anybody, at least this time, people that he knows and who know he's Spider-Man are offering their assistance. So anyway, so they decide to start, going through names of whoever who knows that Peter is Spider-Man. Mary Jane asks, well, how about Harry Osborn? He's dead. He's dead. And of course,
I know, but
so was Norman. So was Norman. And as it turns out, of course, for a while, Harry wasn't dead, but now he is dead again because that was his clone, which was something else that Nick Spencer fixed, which was actually leading to a pretty good resolution, which never occurred. Yeah. So, again, and Mary Jane mentions Venom, and Venom was at the top of her list for a while, and for good reason. That would be the first person, I would suspect, if I were her, but then the
absolute worst villain comes and
the collector,
the collector,
the collector,
the debt collector,
basically
the villain of us all.
Well, basically, Mary Jane ran up their credit cards, and as we find out, and Peter is saying, "Wait a minute, we have all our bills automatically debited from the account," and the collector says, but there was a villain called the Collector, and recently, wasn't there?
There Guardians of the Galaxy, and also,
that's right.
Yeah, the Nick Spencer, the Zeb Wells run.
Yeah, Zeb Wells.
He really was a villain. Wasn't he a villain of the Limbo?
He was turned into a villain of Limbo. He was originally he was a collector for the hospital, because of Peter's latest stay in the hospital, which, I don't know if that's how hospitals do collections anymore, but anyway, this collector is basically saying, everything's being returned unpaid, and we were going to, we wanted to work out a payment plan with you, but now you're screwed. And Peter says, well, screw you too. And
as you know, the biggest villain of a marriage is money problems. Uh-oh. Ooh, she's crying, Peter.
Money, sex, and family.
That'll break
it
up.
Big killers, but money will kill it. Money is, that is something. Speaking from experience, boys and girls, get that hammered out.
Absolutely.
Get your respective. Get it hammered out about kids.
Yep.
And get it hammered out about your philosophy on money.
Yes. Money will break up. Listen to two old guys that have been married for more than 15 years. I'm almost 20 next year.
Cumulatively, we've been married for over 50 years.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's 50 years of experience there, boys and girls.
There you go.
But anyway.
Welcome to the marriage hotline. First caller, Tommy Bagley. What do you got? There's a shift in Mary Jane. I don't know. Anyway. There's a shift in Mary Jane's personality in the DeFalco Friends issues and the Michelini McFarlane issues. I always thought Mary Jane sought the supermodel lifestyle as a way to combat Black Cat. She wanted to be a supermodel before she knew Black Cat, personally.
Yeah, that goes all the way back to really the very beginnings when we first saw Mary Jane, that she was a model. Yeah. But she didn't become a supermodel until later, but she always had, she was in, she'd pop up in a story briefly and say that she had an ad or a photo shoot or, something like that. So she was always into modeling. It's not a bad, I mean, it's not a bad angle that you bring up, but Mary Jane was. I don't think her modeling ambitions had anything to do with Felicia. I think she's just jealous of. I think what she's jealous of, because Mary Jane's as good looking as Felicia. I mean, there's no competition there. I mean, it's like you can't lose with either one of them. But she's just afraid that Peter relates more to her because of their respective lifestyles.
And the thing Felicia has over Peter is she's a superhero. But if you take it nowadays, I guess she's a jackpot.
Well, I mean, she's in costume, and I mean, it's just they have similar lifestyles. They and for a while they were partners fighting crime. Unfortunately,
let's go to Central Park, where in Spider-Man 3 they broke up.
Yeah, but anyway, so Mary Jane's in tears, and basically she admits that. And this is actually very true for people in the entertainment industry. You can do well, and she says she's doing okay, but the problem is because your income is so lumpy, sometimes you make a lot of money and other times you don't. And the year that you're not making a lot of money, you owe taxes on the year you did make a lot of money. Because she references that money she wasn't getting jobs for a while. So she dipped into their tax account. Because what she's saying there is that was the money set aside to pay her taxes on all that money she made before, but she wasn't making now. And
kind of like a real estate agent. You got some good months, you got some bad months.
Yeah, yeah, and and that's why if you're in that kind of business, and I know they've referenced Mary Jane having a manager before, like entertainers, athletes, particularly like athletes now, because all the states want to tax them for all the days they. If you gotta have it, I
don't know about you, but I would go nuts if I didn't have a steady paycheck like that. Yeah. I don't think I could take it.
I couldn't either. I mean, it's like I heard
make me nervous.
It's somebody in the industry said. Actually, the first I heard from Kristen Chenoweth, he said, if you can't see yourself doing anything else, then go ahead and try. But if you can, then do that. So no, this is pretty true to life. This happens. And, of course, what do women do when they get stressed? They go shopping. Anyway, so
don't be sexist on that. Don't you go shopping too? When you get stressed, I go get a burger. I get something. I go spend some money.
No, that makes me more stressed. But I will get a pizza. I will get I'll get a large pizza and just.
All right, let's go to the park.
Better than drinking. Anyway, so they work out. Peter says, "Hey, we'll work it out. We've been in trouble before. We'll work it out." So so Spider-Man goes. Spider-Man decides to go back on patrol.
Look at this. This is good looking. I love the multis.
Yep.
So fast. That's cool.
Yep. So he's going on patrol, and somebody, this idiot.
No.
Here comes the Spiders gang.
Has a butt like a tank. Again, the theme.
The thing is, I was going to say, how does he know he's not? But then again, he's missing some teeth. So.
Oh my gosh, this little punk.
But then he gets some guy wants calls Spider-Man down because he wants him to help him change a tire. And does Captain America ever have days like this? But which is funny because sometimes Spidey will do that. But this guy is
friendly neighborhood.
Yeah, it does. And that's why, again, that's why he's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And he has done this before. But right now he's not in the mood, and this guy is just kind of clearly taking advantage of him, and
skinny little piece of crap. You look like Courtney Cox in that freaking costume.
Yeah. Yeah. Spidey gets aggravated and just his spider sense goes off, but he's had enough of this guy and he just throws his car. So that's pretty good.
But this does not look anything like the Doc Ock I know. What in the world?
I know it is. This, like I said, this is Ozzy Osbourne should have been paid royalties. This is Ozzy Ock, and this look, Humberto used this look in when he was doing Spectacular Spider-Man. There was a 5-parter with Doc Ock, and it was the exact same look.
Hated it.
And then during the second Spider-Man movie, when a bunch of Doc Ock minis came out,
they all
he looked like Penn from Penn and Teller. You know, I mean, he did. He looked like Penn from Penn and Teller. But the hair was all the way back in a ponytail, and
like Paul.
you know, the glasses.
Like Paul. Anyway,
Yeah,
Doc Ock.
So Doc Ock's on a rampage, but something's not really making sense here. For one, you know, the drool kind of gives it away. You know, the
look at her wearing her CD Walkman over here.
Yep.
That's funny.
Yep. Well, I mean, after all, Sony did make the movies, right? So, you know, might as well play a Sony
Walkman.
Anyway,
Spidey and Ock fight.
Yeah, Spidey and Ock fight, but you know, Doc's quiet. He's not engaging in any banter. He's not moving as quickly. He's drooling. It's like, this doesn't quite seem right. And you know, and then Spider-Man, you know, pretty well puts him down pretty easily. And it's like, oh, what are those things sticking out of his back? Well, it turns out they were tranquilizer darts. Yeah. Because as the cops tell Spider-Man, or the SWAT team, Ock was being transported for some medical test, and he briefly escaped, and they pumped him full of tranquilizer darts, and he would have passed out if Spider-Man hadn't showed up and picked the fight with him and got his adrenaline surging. Right. So, you know, so Spider-Man goes, well, excuse me. You know, when I see a guy with 4 metal tentacles destroying property, I tend to want to jump in. So, but then the cops the SWAT team, they get closer, and Spider-Man says, hey, you really don't want to talk to me, do you? You
Get him.
You're after the Daily Bugle's bounty. And yes, they certainly are. Yeah. And are the cops going to get him? You know, are they going to take, you know, are the 20 cops going to take down Spider-Man this time? Well, we'll have to tune in to issue 6.
All right. Issue 6 coming up. Is this more Frank Cho? Is he back?
Nope, no, this is back of the Dodsons again. I think Cho did 5 and 5 and 8.
Very smart to put Dodson next to Cho. Very similar, complementary styles.
Yeah, it's not a jarring change. It's not a jarring change at all.
A lot of these books. For instance, we can even talk about the Ultimate. I don't know if you're reading it, but the Ultimate Spider-Man book.
I have been reading it. Yes,
When you read the Mark Cicchetto stuff, and I can't think of the second artist, I think it's very jarring between the two. They don't complement each other like this does.
Yeah, and it's just aggravating that they cannot keep a consistent team, a consistent team. And for people who are wondering what I think of Ultimate Spider-Man, it was interesting. It's going in interesting, but it's so slow. You know,
did you know a month passes between issues? Did you know that?
No, I didn't. That's the way it used to be in the Stan Lee days, you know, beginning. But it's like, God, let's see Spider-Man knock a couple of villains around. All he does is sit and talk with Harry, you know? I mean, I like the idea of Harry starting out as a good Green Goblin, but I have a feeling his dad is going to take over. But anyway,
all right, issue 6. Issue 6. Oh, the X-Men.
Oh, the cop. Yeah, we're going to see the X-Men, but not too many of them. In fact, we're probably going to see fewer of them than we saw in the first couple of Deadpool movies. Anyway, so the SWAT team jumps on Spider-Man, but even feeling sick and beat up and stressed, he can eat these clowns for breakfast, and he just effortlessly, and which he should do. I mean, again, this is one reason I like this story, is because we see Spider-Man act like Spider-Man, you know, and his powers work like Spider-Man is supposed to do. So 20 cops, no big deal. Boom. But and then we have a brief cameo by a J. Michael Straczynski character, Detective Lamont.
Where? This guy.
Yeah, he doesn't look the same. I mean, because he had white hair in the JMS run, but it was a character JMS created, a police contact that Spider-Man had dealings with over several issues. And where Straczynski was going to go with it, nobody knows, probably because obviously one more day happened and he left the title. I have issues with Straczynski's run, but as the years go on, I wish we had him. I'd like to give him another try. I really would. Maybe not for too many years, but maybe a good 12 to 18 issue run.
You're getting a Spider-Man one-shot by Straczynski coming up with him and Doc Ock. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Straczynski is doing several issues teaming up different Marvel characters.
He was doing
together.
the Captain America run, wasn't he? Or is? Or
Man, that fell off, and he's off the book now, or
okay.
soon to be off the book. But yeah, it was announced that Straczynski's going to write, like, I forget some of the, but the Spider-Man one is Spider-Man and Doc Ock, I think. Anyway,
well, I'll be interested. He did Doc Ock fairly well in that issue where they went out to Hollywood, and Aunt May and Doc Ock remembered each other. Anyway, so Peter,
look,
it's together with Mary Jane
at the deli, the Fantastic Four.
Yes, there's the Fantastic Four. Peter and Mary Jane are having lunch, and the Fantastic Four just happens to walk by. Now,
imagine the Fantastic Four being inside the deli and the X-Men walk outside the deli.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a popular deli.
Well, why not? It's they probably got thrown out by the soup Nazi, so they got to go somewhere. No soup for you. So Peter and Mary Jane are talking, and Peter's saying this bounty is getting out of hand. I got to tell Jonah to knock it off. And Mary Jane says, well, we find out that Mary Jane is packing, and she's got a gun. So,
wow,
so she is ready. And
they really are going in on the marriage thing here. Look at this. Look,
it's like,
look at that.
Yeah, it's not, and here's the thing. One thing I hated about some people who wrote the marriage is because Peter and Mary Jane would say mushy things to each other that couples don't talk that way to each other. They don't, it's, like with Straczynski and with Miller, they talk like a real married couple. They talk like real people. They don't say, "Oh, do you realize how beautiful you always are and how much I love you? Oh, do you realize why you're the greatest man in all the world?" We don't, none of that shit. We know that Mary Jane is desperately in love with Peter, not because she says it, but we see it, when her confidence falls, when Felicia's around, we see that she loves Peter. You don't have to give her a bunch of sappy dialogue to show that she does, and Peter's almost paranoid concern about her shows that he loves Mary Jane. He doesn't have to say something stupid. But anyway, so Mary Jane says, well, you know what? I ain't going to be helpless. I'm not going to end up like Gwen, she says. I mean, boy, and that's what a cut. That's gotta. Peter doesn't show it, but I would think that would really hurt. That would really hurt.
We should even put the tiger behind it. Ooh,
yeah. But fortunately, Peter's realistic. He's like, he knows he's not going to talk her out of it. She's determined. She's going to pack and have a gun. And
I would if I was his wife. I mean, my goodness. I'd have a taser. I'd have a gun. I'd have. I'd bolt the doors. I'd have security cameras everywhere.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we go to the Daily Bugle offices where it appears that it's Spider-Man that has visited Jonah, but no, it's just Larry David pretending to be Spider-Man.
Otis Kincaid, actually.
Yeah, but it looks like Larry David.
It does.
It's a spitting image of Larry David, and whether intentionally or not, I don't know, but it looks like him. And basically, he's another phony.
Spider symbols off too.
Yeah, well, he's a phony. Yeah, and exactly. Jonah figured it out right away, and so the cops, the security hauls him off, and. So, Peter tries to talk some sense into Jonah, and Jonah said, some billionaire gives me $5 million to put a bounty on Spider-Man. I'll put a bounty on Spider-Man. John Jameson, Jonah's son, walks in.
Looks like Flash.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. I kind of said this about, and I said about the Dodsons when they do women, that there's like almost only one face. A lot of characters tend to look like each other. Yeah. But I like the art, but John, it's like John's appearance here actually sort of plays a key part later, in the resolution, because I think this jogs Peter's, oh yeah, there's John. But anyway, so Peter, Jonah says, well, because Peter was also trying to sell pictures, Spider-Man and Doc Ock's fight. And Jonah says, well, they're crap, but I hear you're having money problems, so I'll give you $500 anyway. So Then Peter decides to visit Norman in prison again. And this is where, like I said, this is where partly why I thought they were going to do like Norman was kind of going to be Hannibal Lecter.
I like that he's doing a puzzle. That's fun.
Yeah. He's just, and he was just sitting reading a book the first time around. What's he going to do? When you think about it, it's like, he can't go out and rob or kill or, blow things up or, what can he do?
What do you think that puzzle is?
I was going to, I don't know. I was going to say it was a Spider-Man puzzle, but that would be too on the nose, though.
Oh, look at him! I love Norman toying with him. That's fun.
And that's, I mean, again, another solid characterization of a longtime character. Yeah. I mean, it just shows Norman at his manipulative. He's crazy, but smart. Crazy like a fox. He's not stupid crazy like some writers try to make him. I mean, he's brilliantly insane. He's evil. He really doesn't have, unlike, I mean, I like the fact that some villains have morality, lines they won't cross. And then Norman, there's nothing he won't cross. Mm-hmm. Although I don't believe he killed, there's a reference to the baby, which we'll talk about later. I don't believe he did that. But anyway, Spider-Man, says, well, since you couldn't have kidnapped Aunt May because you're sitting right here in prison, maybe you might know who did it. And Norman just, oh, are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? There's no one else here, so you must be talking to me. Yeah. Let me tell to answer your question as to whether or not I'm going to help you. Let me tell you a little story. Yeah. And so he tells the story of this security guard who was being unusually nice to him. So Norman figured, this dude wants something. Well, turns out his wife is just chronically ill. No, but doctor can find out, what's wrong with her. And the guard thinks, well, Norman's a brilliant, biochemist, brilliant scientist. Maybe he can figure it out. And Norman says, sure, I'll help her. No problem. I'm a nice guy. Who wouldn't trust that face? And so he figures out what she's got. And, I don't know whether any of this is, I mean, I know I've heard the terms fibromyalgia, blah, blah, whatever. But anyway, so Norman, he gives her not a prescription, but not a real prescription, but he gives ideas on how to fix her problem. Mm-hmm. And she does get better for a little while, at least. Mm-hmm. And then so apparently they don't say exactly what he did, but apparently he subtly had her resulted in poisoning her. And so the woman gets even sicker, goes into a coma, and I don't think she's going to ever wake up. Now
that's the fun.
And this is this is something where when I did this scene was in the Jonathan's Thwip rendition, and Norman said, what was it? Where was it? He says, ask me again. Okay, now ask me again for this favor. And Jonathan had written the script. I mean, he shortened it. He took out a lot of the dialogue. And Norman's last line was, now ask me again for this favor. Ask me again. And I read it, tried to do it like this, a cool, calm, just, Anthony Hopkins, ask me again. And he, and it's funny because, and then he said, no, he said, I don't want you to do it that, so I turned the tape in. And he said, I really don't want you to do it that way. I said, I want you to let the Green Goblin out a little bit. I know what you're trying to do, and I understand, you're trying to make Norman not a, cartoony cackling villain, but let the Goblin out a little bit. So I did it again. I said, and I went, ask me again for this favor, Spider-Man, ask me again, and
you built it up.
Actually, I started doing that then in subsequent when I did Norman, is that the Goblin he'd do a monologue, but at the end the Goblin would come out.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was an amusing little sense of direction that
I think
kind of
Defoe
helped.
does that a little bit too, doesn't he?
What's
Like
that?
he's calm.
Oh,
Defoe is a
yeah.
little calm, and then
Yeah,
it comes
and then the
out.
goblin comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, and somebody in the comments said I was deliberately doing Willem Dafoe. I said, well, I didn't respond. Obviously, I didn't care, but I actually wasn't consciously doing Dafoe. The problem is, I'm not a voice actor,
Yeah.
and I tried other type, but I could not do. Because, like, for example, in the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, Stephen Bloom does a very different type of voice, and then the actor in the '90s Spider does a very different Norman voice. I'm not a voice; I couldn't do it. So the only voice I could do that actually sounded natural, like it was naturally coming out, that I wasn't trying to do that, was the Defoe variation. So anyway, so
Spider-Man.
he's not going to get any answers from Norman. Let's see here. Ooh, 213. Better start moving. Anyway, so Spider-Man goes to the
X-Men.
he goes to the a mansion where he meets one of the little psychic girls who kind of lets out she knows more, and she said, "Oh, hi, Peter." Is like, how do you know my name? Oh, I'm not supposed to tell I'm not supposed to tell people things. Don't tell on me. But anyway, she brings him into the mansion, and he meets Rachel Summers, which, again, does this look like Mary Jane?
Yep.
Well,
I mean,
like Mary Jane.
I mean, this looks like Mary Jane too, a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. With freckles. So
kind of all,
like I said, it's and actually in that one scene when Harley was in, if you go back to that nightclub scene, it looks like there's a couple of Mary Janes in there too. But anyway, so he's Rachel Summers. This, of course, I don't know if this character exists anymore, because she was the daughter of Cyclops and Jean in an alternate future, which I think she does exist. Okay.
Boy, that does look like Mary Jane, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, like I said, there's only one face, but at least it's a beautiful face.
Yeah. That face looks a little not Mary Jane-ish.
Yeah, I mean, but it's still pretty close. So anyway, Rachel starts doing whatever psychic things do, and she sees that. And I don't know exactly how this power of hers work, because she's saying things from May's point of view. It's like kind of like I can see her, seeing, what's happening to May, which she does. But then, well, May thought this about you, and she was sad, but you were the light of her life. And it's like, how are you getting that out of any? But anyway, this was like, anyway, so she sees May being attacked, but she can't see who it is. She tells Spider-Man that she doesn't think he's human anymore. Is that a clue? I don't know. But then she says, "Oh my God, I think your Aunt May is dead." Oh, bump, 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 cliffhanger.
Here, hold on. There you go. I think she's dead. That's a good cliffhanger.
Yeah. Well, but it's not quite the end of the issue, because we go to the big shindig that Eddie was talking about. And it's an auction, and they're meeting at what theater?
The Ditko Theater.
The Ditko Theater. Ditko News.
What? Wand?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if that's supposed to be anything, but anyway, Ditko
Theater.
And all these super villains, all the B, C, and D listers. I think it's mostly C and D listers. Shocker's kind of a B villain. But anyway, so they're going to bid on something, but we don't quite know what it is yet. And we also see a character that we haven't seen in many, many, many years. Remember the girl that the woman that the floozy that Hydra Man and Sandman were
this gal? Yeah, this gal? That's
her. That's her.
Yeah,
that's her back in the Denny O'Neil era.
Is Sandman giving her a side look over here? Look at that.
Yeah, pretty well. Yeah, she's with Hydra Man. Now she's with Hydra Man. I guess she prefers water to dirt. But anyway.
Oh, is this Hydra Man here?
This is Hydra Man. Yeah.
That's so funny. Joni.
Well, she thinks she has, for some reason, she thinks that someone skinned Tigra of the Avengers, and Hydra Man bought her fur. But he pretty well, funny. The Shocker says you're or either Sandman or Sandman, you're an idiot. She was just on TV the other day. You're a moron. Anyway, So then we meet one of the architect. We meet a very important character in this, Don Fortunato or whatever, who we also did see as a crime lord in several other Spider-Man comics. I think pre-reboot. I think he was in DeFalco's run when there was a new Rose and it turned out to be Jacob Conover. But I think Fortunato was a character, one of the mob bosses in that. Yep. Anyway, he wants to buy whatever this is, weapons or whatever, for his weenie little son. So anyway, so we get to the auctioneer is none other than an old friend, the terrible Tinkerer. Yes. And what they are auctioning is the Venom symbiote itself, which they reveal at the end.
Boom.
So Eddie
$10 million.
Eddie Brock is dying of cancer. He can't live without the symbiote, and because he's a good God-fearing Catholic, he's gonna go to his just reward. But he's gonna get money out of it, and he's gonna use that to do good and try to smooth over the path to the pearly gates.
And $10 million probably still won't cover the hospital bill.
Yeah,
jeez, $10 million. Good grief.
Oh, that's where it starts. Wait till you see. Remember, wait till you see how much the Don actually pays. All right, issue number 7.
I forgot about. I remember the auction. I remember that. That was fun. I now remember who buys it too. It's all coming back to me.
Yeah. Well, so anyway,
here you go. There's issue number 7.
Number 7. All right.
Oh, that's a new looking Venom over there.
Well, that's because we got a new Venom. We have actually 2 new Venoms in this series. So, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. Anyway, so Spider-Man resumes his patrols. He fights the Lizard, which, again, this is kind of an odd thing. He said, "Oh yeah, Kurt Connors ingested more chemicals to turn himself into the Lizard. Broke out of jail." I think he does this for attention. It's like, okay, it's a slightly different take. Whatever. It's just an excuse. It's just an excuse for the Lizard to show up. So yeah, Monday the Lizard, Tuesday the Sandman, or is it
Hydra Man?
Monday
Hydra Man.
Tuesday Wednesday Sandman, Thursday the Rhino.
Fancy Dan and
the Enforcers. There's a lot of a lot of fan service name dropping, and a reference.
That's funny.
To something I'd hoped I'd forgotten: the Spider-Mobile.
And this is just
gravity. See, it's gravity. Yeah, since Felicia's upside down, gravity is kind of taking its. Gravity's exerting a pull. So, of course, so Felicia, she has no word on Aunt May, but she does have, she does know what's going on with at the auction. She knows what that's all about. But she doesn't know anything about the kidnapping, So Spider-Man, after a long night of web swinging, and what do you eventually have to do? If you've been web slinging and and you haven't stopped anywhere and taken any breaks, what do you eventually need to do, Brad?
You need a burger, man. Let's go to the diner.
No. He's not going for a burger.
Oh, he's gotta pee.
He's gotta pee.
That happens if you podcast for a long time too.
Yeah, but I mean, again, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man has to go into the restaurant.
Yeah.
Like it's funny. We don't care how Batman does it or when he does it or Superman or whatever. When I think Kevin Smith was the one who had Batman peeing in it, it's like, we don't need that. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit what,
well,
because
the
it's
Beyonder
Batman.
cares. The Beyonder cares.
Well, the Beyonder, yeah. But Spider-Man, it's kind of funny. It's like, he's an ordinary person. When you got to go
find a spot, he's got to find a McDonald's.
You got to go. You run into a McDonald's or whatever, and you do your business. Well, unfortunately, in a convenient plot convenience of all convenience, the waitress just happened, who basically says, you gotta buy something if you're gonna pee here. And Spider-Man says, well, I'll buy a coffee. Boy, good thing I didn't take a shit. But it turns out that this waitress is the daughter-in-law of the Vulture.
Okay.
And the mother of his grandson, who she says, Adrian promised that he'd pay for it, but I haven't heard of him, and it's going to cost $500,000. And, and then Spider-Man saying, oh, I really feel like shit now. So,
There's the
it's
face.
but yeah, it's just, so she tells this whole story, and it's like Spider's going, oh, the law of unintended consequences, think you're doing good, but you wind up, you wind up not the hero you think you are. I mean, it's all too convenient. This is, it's all plot convenience, but it is sometimes sometimes you're not doing this. And that's why I always like the one thing about Ezekiel, which I wish JMS never really delved into, was just when Ezekiel tells Peter, if you really truly want to be the hero that you need to be or think you can be, you got to do something more than just punching these thugs around. You got to reach for something greater. But anyway, so Spider-Man Pete does his business, leaves, meets up with Mary Jane again, and he's going through the roster of who might know he's Spider-Man, and he mentions Kane, Thor, Kraven, Wolverine, Ezekiel, the Chameleon. And then I think the first reference outside the Clone Saga.
Hold on. Where's he doing that? Oh, this panel?
No. Prior page.
Okay. Got it. Here,
at the bottom of the prior. Yeah. So he's going through who might know, and, he said, Kane, obviously, Thor, Kraven, Wolverine, because Wolverine and Kraven can smell him. Ezekiel, the Chameleon, and poor old Ben Reilly.
That's one of the first.
That is one of the, if not the, first after the Clone Saga was done.
Interesting.
And at that point in time, I don't think anybody wanted to talk about or remember the Clone Saga. So
they go from what, 1998 to 2004 without mentioning Ben Reilly, and it's
pretty well. I think it was 96, but 96 I think was when Revelations came out. But soon after that story was done, it was like they became it was like it became persona. It's taboo to mention.
Can't talk about clones, and now
clones are Ben Reilly
every couple of years,
and it was never and actually it was never really addressed at all until Brand New Day, when they actually started talking about, and of course now it's just gone
everywhere.
Now it's gone stupid.
That's because the kids that collected the books in the 90s now run the place.
Jack Jones died. The Love Boat.
Love, exciting and new.
Come aboard.
We're expecting you. The Love Boat. Soon you'll be
something a la da da.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Hey,
we're
chat,
pathetic.
you don't want us to sing any more theme songs?
Anyway, we find out now that Don Fortunato.
Hold on. We got to look at Mary Jane a little bit. Hold on.
Oh, okay. All right.
There you go. All right. Now back to the mobster.
All right. We find out that the Don was the winning bidder, $100 million. And Eddie is going to disperse that among 50 charities. So he says, you scumbag, your scummy money is going to do a lot of good. I bet you never imagined that. So, but Eddie, and so this guy, this guy's a weenie. Look at him. He's a weenie. He's more weenie than Johnny Galecki weenie in Big Bang Theory. Now, don't you remember when Sheldon met James Earl Jones, and James Earl Jones says, "Your friend Leonard sounds like a real weenie." But anyway,
Big Bang fan.
Yeah, Big Bang.
Not really.
But anyway, but Eddie says, are you ready to do this? Because it's not like putting on a new pair of clothes when this thing gets inside you and takes you over. And you better have something to bite down on, because the first time it happens, it hurts like hell. But but this the guy says, look, I ain't been nothing. I ain't been nothing. My old man hates me. This is my best shot at being something. What the hell? I
want to be a contender, JR. I want
to be a contender. Would have been.
What is that from Godfather? What is that from?
Streetcar Named Desire.
Oh, okay, got it.
No. On the waterfront. Okay. Yeah, Streetcar Named Desire. It's still Marlon Brando.
Right.
But Streetcar Named
so
Desire.
So is Godfather, for that matter.
Yeah, Streetcar Named Desire is Stella.
That's right.
And on the waterfront is, I could have been something. I could have been a contender.
Superman's daddy.
The Godfather is, someday and that day may never come. I may ask you for a favor. But anyway, so
Why do you come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding and ask me for a favor?
Yeah.
Hey, drop the gun. Get the cannoli.
Drop the gun, take the cannoli. Yeah, you just blew some guy's brains out. You know,
I know. Get that cannoli, brother.
Drop the gun. Take the cannoli. So, an Italian mobster who's got his priorities right. But anyway, so the next scene,
Mo Green sleeps with the fishes.
No, Luca Braggia.
Luca Braggia. What does Mo Green do?
Mo Green got the bullet through the eye.
Yeah.
They call and afterwards they call that the Mo Green special. If somebody gets assassinated through the eye, it's the Mo Green special.
And Mo Green, yes, okay, got it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You want to talk about Hyman Roth? No, we don't want to talk about Hyman Roth. Anyway, that was Godfather 2. Anyway, so the next
scene, JR, you're glitching out. Your internet's glitching. Hold on.
It is. I'm still moving.
No, you're for. Oh, are you back?
I hope so.
Whoa.
Am I back?
Hold on, JR. You're not back.
I can see myself moving.
I think the mob has taken over JR's camera. Here, I'm going to remove JR, and then I'm going to add him. JR, you're back?
Am I? Only you can tell. Huh?
JR, I got an idea. How about you hop out of the studio and then hop back in on that link? Because you are really frozen.
All right. Oh, frozen.
All right. Chat. Let's chat it up while JR's internet comes back. We just totally lost him. Yeah, he was. You're not glitching. He was glitching. We couldn't see him. I could hear him, but all right. Is he back? There you are. You're moving. Now talk.
Oh, let it go.
There you go. You're back now. All right.
You said I was frozen, so let it go. Anyway, so the next scene is Peter's 10th high school reunion.
Oh, my.
Yeah, and why Peter wanted to go, I had no idea, because frankly, I haven't been to any of mine. And
I haven't been to mine either.
Yeah, and 2021 was the 40th anniversary. Yeah, I still ain't going. Anyway,
2023 was my 30th. Yeah, that's crazy.
So anyway, so Peter, Liz basically talked him into going. Mary Jane figures Peter needs a distraction, and they meet Mr. Warren, who you all remember. Mr. Warren, we saw him very early in The Amazing Spider-Man, one of Peter's high school teachers. And he was retroactively, he became Miles Warren's brother.
So, you reading Spectacular Spider-Man, the Greg Weisman Spider-Man Miles Morales team-up book?
Oh, hell no.
They just killed this guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they just killed him.
It's unnecessary. I hate when they do that. I really do. I mean, it's just too convenient. Oh, you want to do something? Hey, you want to get attention? Kill a character. You want to, shake things up? Kill a character. I mean, that's how we lost Jean DeWolf. I mean, it was a great story, but I think that was a big loss for the titles to kill off Jean DeWolf. But anyway, so, Peter, he's going to his high school reunion. And of course, he's showing off Mary Jane a little bit.
Yeah, you would.
And Mary Jane doesn't mind being shown off. And of course, the old high school bully's like, basically, how did that weenie wind up with her? Is she blind? Was she drunk? Did she lose a bet? What the hell happened?
He upgraded. Who's this gal?
That's Liz.
Oh, that's Liz. Okay.
Yeah, that's Liz Allen Osborne.
Yeah.
So anyway, but
she's got a symbiote these days.
Yeah. Misery, right? Misery.
Yeah.
Oh,
She got a symbiote. Yeah.
I know.
I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah, who doesn't?
I bet you she didn't pay $100 million for it either.
No, I think they grew it in their own lab or had it in Oscorp or something. Or no, Alchemax.
Yep.
Yeah. Liz took over. Liz consolidated Oscorp, Max Modell's stuff, and Allen Chemical.
Yeah.
And she created Alchemax, which is the evil corporation of 2099.
That was clever, I thought.
A 2099, which Norman Osborn apparently is still alive in, but I never saw that coming. But anyway, that's another story. Anyway, so Liz and Pierre are reminiscing about old times and stuff, and and Liz says, boy, of all the crazy things that have happened, Harry became the Green Goblin, Mark Braxton, my stepbrother, became the Molten Man. Sometimes, Peter, you're the only normal person I think I know.
That's
which then when Spider-Man's identity gets, he reveals his identity, Liz becomes very angry with him that he never told her, and it's like, how did you even become Spider-Man? So, but anyways, but then, some of Peter's old classmates want to have a picture taken with him, right? Well, you see something fishy here. And of course they think, Flash isn't there. So they'll give Peter a wedgie and take a picture of it and send it to Flash. Obviously these guys have never grown up. Yeah. But Peter basically tells them, you lay one finger on me and you're leaving on a stretcher. Which I like. None of this, I better not show too much strength because people will think I'm Spider-Man. It's like, no, you touch me, I'm kicking your ass. That's what you would do if you were superpowered. You don't have to put up with that crap anymore. But at that time, the Venom 2 burst through.
Venom 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yep. And and one of the bullies finds out far too late that, Peter is Spider-Man. Crack.
Oh, got him.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so anyway,
they killed both those bullies, didn't they?
Yeah, killed them all. So
killed them all. Ooh.
But so anyway, Venom is mad and ready to go. So this leads into the last part of Venomous. Oh, and we're running late. I'll try to get through this quickly.
Okay, is this issue 8?
This is issue 8, part 4 of Venomous. Second part of the quote-unquote trilogy.
By the way, chat is saying it was you, Brad. It was you. I'm sorry, but maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was StreamYard. I don't know.
Well, because sometimes I can tell when I free. It's just like you see, I'm not moving. Something must be wrong.
But it worked.
Yeah.
Went out.
Well, it worked.
It worked.
Yep.
Okay, share screen.
So Peter
Hold
and
on,
Venom
let me get the cover. There's the cover. The new Venom on the cover. And do we find out who this is in this issue?
Yeah, very soon.
Okay.
It's the mobster's kid.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was
no, not yet. He's later. He's later.
This is the mobster's kid. Okay.
The mobster's kid. He paid $100 million for the Venom symbiote. Because he wanted his son to become somebody. And Peter says, like on the next page, he says, this is a gangster's kid named Angelo Fortunato. And he just his dad bought him and he just told me his dad bought him at a supervillain auction. So there was dialogue going on that we didn't see, but this guy, he's inexperienced. He's not used to fighting. He's not used with the symbiotes. And, he even talks like a kid, hands off of me, man. So Peter becomes Spider-Man.
Oh, we got Frank Cho art on this, don't we?
Yeah. This is number 8. So it's Frank Cho. Some guy's making a move on Mary Jane, claiming that he's Spider-Man, which when Spider-Man bursts through the wall with
this guy hits on Mary Jane saying he's Spider-Man.
Yeah, and she's just kind of eating it up,
I'm Spider-Man, baby. This is my gift.
Sorry, Spidey. Sorry, Spidey, but I'm already married to the Hulk.
Come back to my place and I'll show you the old red and blue PJs. Sorry, Spidey, but I'm already married to the Hulk, and the big cranky he gets when he hits on his girl.
So
that's funny.
Yeah. But anyway, this Mary Jane, knowing the drill, clears out the gym, and Spider-Man and the new Venom go at each other. And this Venom apparently, and I don't know, Venom always seemed oversized to me, but he's saying this Venom is bigger. And I guess because the symbiote feeds on anger and emotion and things like that, because this kid's got so much anger and resentment, that's why this Venom is much bigger. But
big gas.
So anyway, they fight. So they're fighting, and Venom tells. Because the Venom symbiote knows that Peter obviously knows who Spider-Man is, so Venom is saying, "I can't believe when I found out that you were just a high school teacher. I thought you'd be a Green Beret or a Navy SEAL or something. My doorman makes more money than you," which I just thought was funny. He thought Spider-Man was going to be a military, career military, and now he's just a high school teacher. Yeah. But after going a few rounds, Spidey has had enough. The Venom has put too many innocent people in danger, caused too much destruction, thrown him around a little bit too much. And now he says, time to show this punk who he's dealing with. Again. And so Spider-Man then begins, it takes a couple of pages, but actually Venom kills somebody he thinks is Spider-Man, but who is dressed as Spider-Man, because he and his buddy who's taking his picture were trying to get the Bugle's reward money. So
anyway, hold on. Venom, I see where you are now.
Yeah.
Let me show this.
I'm just trying to skip through pretty quickly. But.
So the fight happens, and then Venom punches him right through the chest.
Yep.
You're like, ooh, Chuck.
Yeah. Well, I killed Spider-Man. No. It's okay. Like you just killed somebody who was pretending to be Spider-Man because they're going to try to con Jonah out of $5 million.
Get some bricks.
And then Spider-Man comes on the scene, and like he said, he is showing this punk who he's dealing with. Yeah. He sends Angelo reeling, and this kid does not know what hit him, and he's panicking, and he can't keep it together. And the symbiote is
symbiote's like, peace out.
Is like, screw you. You're a little wussy. I'm going to find somebody else.
And the guy just falls.
And he abandons him. I mean, again,
that's brutal.
It's cool. It's cool.
It is cool.
He abandons him midair. And the guy.
Look at the melon.
Yeah.
Oh, he does kill him. Okay.
He goes
Jeez.
flat.
Man.
Oh.
And I don't remember this story very much. Woof.
Well, anyway, after we actually we'll want to go to the panel underneath Splat. After you go Splat.
Under Splat.
Because we see the fate of Eddie Brock as Mark Millar intended it. Basically, Brock slits his wrist and commits suicide. And according to Millar, that was meant to be good. That was meant to be for good. There was going to be a new Venom. Brock was dead. But Marvel said no.
Well, do you know when Venom came back after this? Was it where he was really skinny in the hospital?
What had happened was, I'm trying to remember this. Yeah, in the hospital, basically he was the cancer was eating away at him. Like I said, Marvel wouldn't let him kill Eddie Brock off, so Eddie came back. But Sakasa wrote a very good story about how Brock, after being emaciated by cancer, you could still see that he was a psychopath. I mean, it wasn't this anti-hero or the what do they call him? The noble vigilante. What do they call him?
Lethal protector.
Lethal protector thing. None of this stuff. I mean, this guy was a psychopath who wasn't able to take responsibility for his own actions.
They've changed that over the last 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, and that was
a hero now.
Yeah, he wasn't able to take responsibility, and that's why he blamed Spider-Man for his problems. So Sakasa added a little bit of color to that motivation and showed what a psycho Brock truly was. Well, anyway, so Eddie's dying, but then in Brand New Day, what happens? Something happens. He's still dying, but he turns into anti-Venom, and then being anti-Venom cures him of the cancer. And then, eventually he becomes Venom again and blah, blah, blah. So anyway,
go to the Daily Bugle next.
Go to the Daily Bugle. Peter says, I know who Spider-Man is. I got photographic evidence. You sure you want to print it? Jonah says, yeah, let me see it. Well, it's John Spider-Man. Congratulations. It's a boy. Now, this is, again, I do not believe Peter Parker would do this. I do not believe he would do this at all. He would not. I don't. I mean, it's funny to put one over on Jonah like this. You think it's funny. And, Peter takes some of the reward money, and I guess he takes $500,000, and you know what he's going to do with it. But I just honestly don't think Peter would have done this. I don't think he would have framed John. He has nothing against John. He and John have had no quarrels or quibbles, other than the time that John got some space spores and grew into a big monster, and then he became the Man Wolf. So, but I guess he and Spidey have had problems, but he and Peter have never had
that devastates Jonah. Look at that.
Well, yeah. And that's one reason why I always figured that Jonah is a smart enough newsman. He could have figured out that Peter was Spider-Man, because in one story, and I forget who wrote the story, it was a backup story, he was getting close, but there was something that you tell there was something that was preventing him from putting two and two together. And I've always felt that the reason that Jonah and Flash, because anybody who was around Peter should have known he was Spider-Man. Yeah. It didn't make any sense. And it's like, Betty Brant said during Civil War, oh, we just all were, it was obvious, Peter, you were sloppy. We just all were too dumb to see it. But Jonah and Flash, Spider-Man had to be somebody else. It couldn't be somebody they knew or cared about, and Jonah, for all his bluster, likes Peter, and he couldn't imagine Spider-Man was his devil, his personal boogeyman. So kind of like if John had really been Spider-Man, that's devastating because it's somebody, it's somebody Jonah never imagined it could be. Jonah never saw Spider-Man as a person, as a human being with frailties, as a human being who's maybe doing this for a reason. Jonah always said, oh, he's just doing it for personal glory. He's just doing it for attention, blah, blah, blah. Because he didn't want to get his hands around the fact that Spider-Man actually might be a real human being, And then later, after Jonah finds out, he goes, when he turns down an award from the Kingpin, he says, I made Spider-Man my personal devil for years, and all he was a young man who was just trying to do good. So yeah, it devastates Jonah. I really don't think Peter would have done this. So anyway, Peter takes
floating heads of guilt.
Floating heads of guilt. Yeah. Peter takes the $500,000, drops it off at the diner. And, the Vulture's daughter-in-law is in tears. But Peter says, I did good. Yeah. And here we go, boys and girls. Not quite the big reveal, but sort of a reveal. The mysterious kidnapper calls Spider-Man, and the last panel is him clinging to the tower of the Empire State Building. So I still didn't know who it was, but then, reading the internet chatter, they said who it was, and then the next issue confirmed it. We'll find out next month. So this was the end of Volume 2 and of Marvel Knights Spider-Man. And Volume 3 is coming up next.
Real quick, we got a few minutes. Any chat? No, we're running late, aren't we?
Yeah, that's why I said.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we had 15 minutes. We don't. We're running late. So, all right, we will be back, quote unquote, next month for more Spider history. Here we go.